let's get into main topic number 1. And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Lee DeWald. And Lee DeWald writes, if it came, went, and nobody noticed, did it really happen at all? That's the question I asked myself when I read that the streaming service Quibi has been shuttered just 6 months after launching. Negative reviews, a weak subscriber base, a patent lawsuit surrounding its streaming technology, and COVID all contributed to Quibi's demise. I don't think COVID contributed to its demise. We'll talk about that in a second. According to Jeffrey Katzenberg, I attribute everything that has gone wrong to coronavirus. Everything. Your thoughts. All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, it has come. It is now gone. Quibi is shutting down. All the major trades are reporting that they now have it on a good word that Quibi is going to be shutting down. Now, of course, Quibi, streaming entertainment network, likened unto a Peacock or a Hulu or a Disney Plus, with two very, very key things to make them distinct from all the others. Number one, 10-minute content. That was their big selling point at first. You know, remember they did the first commercials? Oh, how long to cook that casserole? 4 Quibis. Remember they did that really awful ad campaign? That was a bad way to do it. The other thing that was really unique to them as opposed to other streaming services was no television app. No app for Roku or Apple TV or anything. You can only watch it on a mobile device. And that to them was a selling point. That to them was a selling point. Hey, come on a vacation to Hawaii. I'm going to punch you in the face with a pine cone. That's the selling point. Like, that was about as intelligent. And I thought for a long time that this is not going to work. Now, listen, there's a difference between thinking it's not going to work and hoping it's not going to work. I was hoping it would work. I mean, hey, more entertainment,
sure.
More companies offering more entertainment,
more jobs.
Look at the A-list stars. I mean, they had Kevin Hart and Anna
Kendrick, Lawrence Fishburne,
tons of people. They had big A-list stars with some interesting looking properties, but they never got around. That whole thing that it was 10-minute bites. And I said when they first announced it, I don't know that people are going to sign up for this. Anyway, this comes to us from the folks over at Deadline. They write, the return on that investment, they spent billions on this, never fully materialized. However, in its first 90 days, during a free trial period, the streaming app was downloaded 5.6 million times. Not horrible, but nothing compared to like the downloads of Peacock or specifically think about Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff. The company said last month, but only a small percentage of those downloads actually converted over to being subscribers once the free trial paid off, $5 a month or $8 a month for an ad-free version. One third-party estimate put the conversion rate at just 8%. 8%. But Quibi vigorously disputed that number. So there you have it. Now, one of the interesting things was Katzenberg, who is a terrific, by the way, Katzenberg is a terrific studio executive, and he's a great entertainment executive, and he tried something bold and new. I was cheering for him. I didn't think it would work, but I was cheering for him. It didn't work. He was very quick to put the blame on coronavirus. And here's why that's garbage. Number one, he was trying to launch Quibi when a lot of the streaming services in that same era, Disney Plus was getting up and running, Peacock was up and running, all that kind of stuff. They boomed. Like Netflix went through a growth spurt because of, they grew because of coronavirus. Mobile apps like TikTok and YouTube all report that their mobile stuff saw surges in use during coronavirus, not declines. I would argue that if you're Katzenberg and you're Quibi, the coronavirus, as weird as it is to say, for your business might have been the best thing to happen to you because it helped out all those other streaming services except yours. I'm not saying that there's any direct connection to that, but I'm saying that kind of suggests that the idea that the coronavirus prevented them from taking off, unless you had to travel across town to watch Quibi, that would change things. If you had to travel across town to watch it, but you didn't. You had it on your phone. You could watch it there, and it didn't work out. Again, I'm not happy about this. I think the more entertainment, and I applaud them for trying something new, but I always suspected the 10-minute thing would be a problem, and I really knew it was going to be a problem that if you wanted to watch it, you had to watch it on your phone. Because about 37% of the people who watch the John Campea Show watch it on televisions. Watch it on televisions, which is crazy. a big chunk of them, the biggest chunk of people watch it on mobile devices. Certain people watch it on TV or watch it on their computers, and a bunch of people watch it on their televisions.
Like on their smart TVs.
Yes, on their smart TVs, whether they got an Amazon Fire or a Google TV or an Amazon Fire Stick or Roku or an Apple TV, whatever.
Okay.
A lot of people, like almost 1 out of every 3 people, watch it on television. That's a big chunk of your demographic to take that away from people. Plus, if I want to watch dramatic content,
oh yeah,
I want to put it on my TV. The fact that they never gave, now I heard that they were going to put that into motion, but anyway.
They were trying to.
They were moving towards that. Look, bottom line is, I am sad to hear this news that Quibi is going away, but not at all surprised because of the certain decisions they made. But anyway, that's my thought on it. But hey, listen, bravo to them for trying to do something that was really different from everybody else. I do applaud that. I hope more people try, but just maybe not make some real big blunders while doing it. Anyway, Aaron, you heard about this. Were you surprised at all to hear the quick? I am a little bit surprised they're closing this quick, but I guess they're burning through money. Were you surprised at all?
Well, I think that them closing this quickly is probably the smartest business decision that they've made in this entire process, because they said, they had $1.84 billion, almost $2 billion in venture capital funds that were invested into this company. And so they're saying, instead of spending all of the money, we want to be able to return as much of that to our investors as possible, thus salvaging the relationships with said investors. There's several things that they did wrong. Number one, dumb name. I'm not going to say anything more about it. It's a dumb name. But number two, they didn't do anything new. Everybody's saying they're trying this new thing, when the reality is that basically they just took the model of webisodes and web series and they said, oh, we're going to do it, but we're just going to put a ton of money into it.
Well, that makes it does that not in and of itself kind of make it different and unique? Because the idea of webisodes has always been small, low budget, whatever, to say we're going to get A-list Hollywood talent. We're going to get A-list Hollywood producers. We're going to put A-list kind of money into this format. I'd never seen that done before, personally.
That's not discovering something new. That's colonizing. That's like saying that Christopher Columbus discovered America. It's like, no, dude, there's been people over here like having fun and making web series. I did a web series with Vin Diesel 10 years ago. Like, that's nothing new. Here's what I would have loved for them to do. Instead of like vomiting all these hundreds of millions of dollars all over all these huge names who don't know how to do short form content. Thank you. Go to those web series creators. Go to the people who have amassed big followings on their micro budgets in their basements and their garages, and go, hey, hi, I'm Jeffrey Katzenberg. I've got a lot of money. And you've got a lot of creativity. So I'm going to give you more money. I'm going to give you access to, to bigger name stars than you had before. I'm going to give you access to bigger name producers than you were already working with. Keep your same content.
Right, but they've tried that. They have tried that, because I remember a few years ago, like there were some studios like with Shane Dawson, like some very, very popular YouTubers and stuff like that, tried to give them money. And so they actually, like Shane Dawson, a bunch of other YouTubers, actually, they put out a feature film, and they've gotten popular influencer YouTubers, try to give them television shows.
I'm not saying that. No, that's not what I'm saying.
You're just saying give them more resources.
I'm not saying take someone who's really good at short form media and drag it out so that it's not the same thing. Take someone who's really good and has been doing short form media for 10, 15, 20 years and has amassed a following, and go, hey, we want you to do the exact same thing that you've been doing for a small budget, but we're going to give you more money to do it. And we want you to keep that creativity. And we want you to take all of the people that are already fans of yours and bring them to our platform. Because then you have, like, if I was already a fan of some, web series or whatever, I mean, even a web series that was on maybe 5 years ago that is no longer on, but had a really great following and people loved it and was really creative. But instead, you're taking people that are successful in long form, and you're now expecting them to be successful in short form. And I'm like, why not take the people, and this is an example of someone who is so successful, but is sitting in the top of an ivory tower and has no concept of what's going on the street level. You know, these people who are, I'm not like, this is no disrespect to Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman for being successful, in what they have done. But this is where you bring in some young interns, pay them, and go, hey, what's cool right now? Because we're old. Like we're out of touch. And that's what it is. I feel like it was out of touch. They decided they figured, hey, if we just throw a lot of money at it, we get a bunch of, A-list stars, then it's going to be successful. But what they lacked was the creativity. And so it's like, you're not reinventing the wheel here. You say that you are, but you're not. And the fact that they didn't immediately, and also I said it before and I'll say it again, evolve or die. There were a lot of businesses that within the first month of COVID were like, oh, it's COVID, we have to shut down for good. Well, they probably shouldn't have been in business in the first place. Because if they didn't have the buffer of a month, there are restaurants and there are small businesses, family-owned businesses that are still in business. A lot have gone away, but the ones that closed within the first month, a lot of those businesses did not have a sustainable model anyway and would have probably closed within a few months regardless of COVID. This is also a situation where with that much money and that many executives connected to it who have been in this business long enough, they should have seen the second that this hit, they should have been like, okay, we got to figure out how to pivot. We got to immediately put it on televisions. We have to immediately start figuring out if we can find some content that can be longer form, because people have time to watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
so they should have looked at
5 million people. If you can get 5 million people to sign up and try it, and only 8% hang around. But I will say, again, I still believe this is different because when you look at the arena it was in, it's in the arena with Disney Plus, with Hulu, with Netflix. Out of all of those, it really did stand as the most unique and it really did differentiate itself from all those other services, which let's face it, some do it better than others, but they're all basically the same thing. All those things are the same thing. Quibi tried to do something different.
Right, but those other platforms are also offering familiar content. You go to Peacock and see Battlestar Galactica. You can go to Apple and see whatever they offer. You go to Disney and see their whole catalog. They had, they bring you in with, hey, you can watch every episode of The Office. And by the way, we have our original programming too. All Quibi offered was original programming. And I was like, I didn't ask for it. I don't want it.
All right. Well, guys, the question is, I don't think anybody's surprised. I will admit, I'm a little surprised of how quickly the door shut. But like Aaron said, it probably was wise. If they saw the writing on the wall, why just burn through more money when they don't have to? Question is, guys, what do you think about it? Were you a Quibi subscriber? I don't personally know anybody who's a Quibi subscriber. Were you? What do you think about this closure? Were you surprised? Did you think they might last a little bit longer? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.